One of the more outspoken critics of the water and sewer bond referendum is Conrad Reed. As chairman of the 400-member Committee to Save Our Wells, his opposition to city water plans dates back to 1977, when the city council passed a mandatory hookup ordinance. Because water is short, he says use of wells should be encouraged.
That they have no right to tell us that we have to use their water, that it is quite obviously a ploy for the city to get revenue to build water standpipes, all sorts of things, all over the city generally, and not right here on our grounds, as it were, my neighbors and myself.
City Manager George Hanbury, a moving force behind the water referendum, says it's difficult for people to appreciate the need for a citywide water system.
They can see that there needs to be an improvement of water and sewer in front of their homes, but they don't realize that in order, after the homes have been improved with the lines, that there is a need for storage tanks, there's a need for improved transmission lines, there's a need for pumping stations, and if we don't have those facilities, there really would be no need to have the lines in front of their house in the first place.
Reed sees the bond referendum as yet another debt leading the city down the road to financial destruction.
Our indebtedness, bonded, funded, whatever you call it, is rapidly increasing, despite the cries of the former mayor, Mr. Standing, that they can't borrow much money because the state has put restrictions on them. Well, thank God for the restrictions, because if it was unrestricted, we'd probably be a second New York.
The water and sewer bond issue would have no effect whatsoever. Virginia Beach has a reputation in the national market through both the rating agencies of Moody's and Standard & Poor's as being one of the finest investments in the entire nation of municipal bond issues.
Ultimately, of course, it is the voters in Virginia Beach who will have to decide on November 4th whether they're willing to pay for an upgraded citywide water system. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at whether those voters are being told enough to make a responsible choice on a difficult and very expensive issue. Howard Jaffe, Area 10 Eyewitness News, Virginia Beach. City Manager George Hanbury wants to have the water and sewer referendum pass. He's confident it would be the best thing for Virginia Beach, and he has said so at every opportunity. At least one council member doesn't share his enthusiasm.
I really felt that our facts and our figures weren't together to the point that they could be presented in an accountable way to the voters. Part of the problem has been the lack of information that has been available.
Conrad Reed of Save Our Wells is certain he doesn't want the water referendum passed, and he thinks no one would if city officials leveled with them. The people of Virginia Beach, he says, don't know whom to trust.
Because I don't believe anything I hear from City Hall. I've never been given any reason to believe anything I hear from City Hall. The administration practices its daily exercise of deception, undercover, misleading, cover-up, every known means at its disposal to keep the citizenry from being informed about anything that goes on in this city that involves money.
We're making a tremendous effort, on part of the City Council and part of the administrative staff of the city, to inform the public. It's my effort to try to do that and to do it in every way possible. Obviously, in many respects, because of such a new influx, many people are difficult to understand, and I'm sure many people would like to believe what they may wish to believe.
But Reed contends that part of the problem is that the citizens don't know who's running the show.
The City Council sits back and lets Hanbury tell them how to run the city.
I have to make recommendations to the City Council. The City Council acts on my recommendations, and by either 11-0 or 6-5, whether my recommendations are adopted or not is solely up to the City Council, not up to George Hanbury.
Uncertainties over whom to trust on the water referendum issue will have to take a back seat on Election Day, when voters will have to trust themselves to make the right decision. There are about 7 weeks between now and then, plenty of time for voters to get the story straight. This is Howard Jaffe, Area 10 Eyewitness News, Virginia Beach.